Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. In this video, we are going to be swatching these. These are the brand new Milani Cosmetics Hydrating Lip Stains. They recently came out with these, so I went ahead and ordered them off of Ulta, I believe is where I got them. I'm going to be swatching all of these on my lips. Hopefully they're not too staining. Well, actually, hopefully they are. But for the sake of this video, let's hope it's not too staining so that I can give you guys pretty accurate swatches on the lips. As always, I'm going to be breaking down all of the specs for these, do the swatches, and then give you my final first impression review on all of these colors and the formulation and all of that. So if this is something that you're interested in, then let's get started. So I have Milani's website up here. These retail for $13.99. There are 6 shades, and the description says, lip color gets low maintenance with color fetish hydrating lip stain made with hydration-rich hyaluronic acid and plant-derived squalane. This cushiony high comfort formula applies with a glossy shine that transforms into a semi-matte tint as it dries down. Never sticky, non-drying, delivers 8 hours of stain power hydration and comfortable wear. Should we do a wear test as well? I think we will. I didn't plan for this, but I think I will do a wear test. From what I can see from the swatches, they tend to be more pinky and reddish in tones, all 6 of the shades. It kind of varies between those two. There's not really any like true nude shades. There's no like berry shades or anything like that. So we'll see how these look. Hopefully on the lips, they do look pretty different from one another, because sometimes with lip stains, they can kind of all pull a little bit more red in tone. And they have swatches on their website where it shows fresh application and then blotted. So let's do that today. Let's do fresh application and blotted as well. I have some makeup removers here, and if worse comes to worse, we will kind of blot the lips with a little bit of concealer to try to get it to my natural lip color, which we have right here. I do have some lip balm on, so I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe that off. Personally, I have high hopes for these. I feel like Milani is kind of hit or miss with their lip products. Sometimes I feel that they're not the most hydrating, they're not the most comfortable, but if this does well, I'm hoping that this is going to be an alternative to like Asian makeup, you know, glossy lip stains in Asia. Maybe this will give us an option at like Ulta and drugstores. So I have these lined up in numerical order, and we're going to start with number 110, which is called Mauve Mentality. It's described as a pale pink, which is not what I expect when I hear mauve. I would expect a mauve, but I don't know. We'll see. Do they have a scent? I feel like they have a slight sweet scent. I'm a little nervous about the staining power of these. All right, so this is what I would consider one layer. It doesn't actually go on super glossy like I anticipated. I thought they were going to be ultra glossy, kind of like the Rare Beauty lip oils, where once you put it on, it's like a lip gloss almost. It looks hydrating, right? But it doesn't look glossy. I think this is really pretty, and I would not consider this a pale pink. I'm going to add a little bit more to see if we can get more shine. Actually, I'm adding like a full dip in the top and the bottom, so 2 dips. This definitely seems more like a berry, doesn't it? Okay, here's the shade Mauve Mentality. I feel like this is a berry or like a deep mauve. Are you guys getting that as well? Right off the bat, the formulation of these feel very similar to the Rare Beauty ones in the sense that they're very lightweight and almost feel watery, but this almost feels like you have more of a film on the lips. It's not uncomfortable. It is slightly hydrating. I wouldn't say that the film in general is uncomfortable. So let's see what this looks like once we blot it. Oh, that's so pretty. I'm gonna blot it until it's like mostly matte. All right, and here is Mauve Mentality once it's blotted. I actually think that this is such a pretty shade. I feel like it's a good way to add a little bit of color to the face without it being like really aggressively in your face, you know what I mean? And this is giving me holiday vibes. This color is very pretty. I like it a lot. Okay, let's see if we can wipe it off. Here's the test. Doesn't come off with a dry paper towel, that's for sure. Let's whip out a makeup wipe, see how this does. Okay, so for the most part, the makeup wipe did remove the lip stain, so I think we're good on that. I can live with this. There is a little bit of a stain left, so I am assuming that the rest of the shades are going to slightly stain the lips, and we're gonna see a little bit of mixing between the shades, but it does seem like the lip color and the pigmentation is going to cover the majority of the leftover lip stain. So just keep that in mind, just so you guys know. But let's go ahead and go in with our next shade, which is the shade 120 Mahogany MAMI. This is described as a warm cinnamon shade. Pretty. I'm not dipping back in just yet. All right, here is what Mahogany MAMI looks like. I do think that it looks like a warm cinnamon shade. I could see a lot of people really gravitating towards this shade because it's definitely more of a red, but it seems a little bit more toned down, something that seems approachable and wearable. I like this. Let's add another layer of this to see if we can get even more shine. Okay, there it is with another layer. I do think if you want more shine, you're gonna have to go in with at least 2 layers of this. So let's go ahead and blot it and see. That's so pretty. I love the way these look blotted, honestly. You see how even the staining is? Truly, that's very impressive to me. It looks so even in color, and it does leave behind a slightly balmy type of feel, so it still feels really comfortable. Definitely not like the, let's say, Benefit Benetint's, where that can leave your lips looking a little bit dry. This looks very hydrated in my opinion, and I don't think that any of the actual pigmentation is really sinking into the lips. And even when I rub it, when it's a stain like this, guys, it's barely coming off on my finger. I did it on my middle finger right here. Barely coming off. That is very pretty. So again, this is Mahogany MAMI, and this one is blotted right now. And I'm just gonna go straight in with that makeup wipe to remove it. I definitely think that these are gonna be really staining if what you're going for is mainly like a long-lasting lip stain. Next, we have the shade 130 Rose Rising, which is described as a nude rose shade. Oh, that's really pretty. I like this a lot. I don't feel like this shade, even though it is clearly more of a pinky shade, I don't think that it looks bad on me. Typically, I don't like pink shades or like rosy shades on my lips, but I think because of this finish and the way that it looks more like a subtle stain, it does feel a little bit more wearable to me. And I also feel like it's a little bit more on the darker side, so it doesn't look very bam in your face. You do kind of taste these. They do taste a little bit sweet and a little bit lip product-y. I don't know how to explain that. It tastes a little chemically, but also a little sweet. All right, let's do another layer. So again, we can get as much gloss as I think is intended. All right, here is with another layer for a little bit more shine. And then let's blot it. I feel like I'm gonna like this blotted. That's so pretty. That is so pretty. And look, no matter how much I'm blotting it, it still looks incredibly even. So comfortable. Seriously, such pretty stained effects here. All right, next up we have the shade 140 Pink About It. And this one is described as a dusty rose. My lips are pretty stained, and I did just wipe a little bit of my concealer brush that I used earlier, like a little dusting on my lips. Oh, that's pigmented. All right, here is Pink About It. Pretty pink, not my favorite. This is probably my least favorite so far, but it's still really nice. And if you like these more bright hot pink shades, then you may like this one a lot. Okay, let's blot her now. It almost looks like more of a magenta shade once it's blotted. Definitely doesn't look as bright of a pink. You know, I'm definitely getting more magenta redishy vibes from this. Ooh, my lips are really getting stained now. Kind of cute though. Again, just trying to blot the lips a little bit. Okay, next we have the shade 150 That's Fire. And this one is going to be a berry rose. I guess I was wrong. I guess they do have more of a berry shade in here. This looks like a red to me though, like compared to the actual cap, you know? Yeah, this looks like a red, doesn't it? Okay, here is That's Fire. Adding another layer, and I just realized the last shade, the pink one, I did not add another layer. I'm sorry, I forgot one more layer of this. Here is with 2 layers where it's a little bit more glossy. Well, I would say a lot more glossy. Okay, and of course we're gonna blot it. That is strong. That is a strong pigment. So pretty. You know, I think that I prefer to wear reds like this where it looks more stained than like a glossy red. I'm not a huge fan of glossy reds. If anything, I love a blotted red, a matte red, or in this case, a stained red. And lastly, we have the shade Bitten Berry, which is described as a reddish brown shade. Here is Bitten Berry. This is one layer, but I can see a lot of people really liking this one because it gives me a little hint of brown, but mainly berry, but I still think it's pretty on trend and I think it's really nice for fall. I actually feel like all of these are really nice for fall and winter time. And then let's do another layer. All right, here's another layer. I feel like that deepened it up quite a bit. And out of curiosity, since we didn't do this with the other shades, let's go ahead and do a third layer. All right, here it is with a third layer. Again, I feel like it just kind of held how deep it is, and it's slightly more shiny, but it definitely looks like I'm wearing a lot of lip color. What do you guys think of this really built up? Let me know. That's so pretty. Are you kidding? This shade specifically reminds me of the Fenty Beauty summer poutsicles that they came out with, the more purple one, or actually, I don't know, the more magenta one. I did an Instagram reel and TikTok on them, like swatching them on the lips. I did them blotted and I also put them on glossy. This reminds me of that, but I almost feel like these are more even in color. Anyways, those are all the swatches, so let's get into my review. Okay, I'm keeping that last shade on my lips, so I don't know, I just like it. And also, so we can do the wear test, I think I'm gonna wear this already like blotted like this because right now I'm really digging how it looks like just a regular stain versus a glossy lip stain. All of my notes on these products. So I know that I was comparing these to the Rare Beauty lip oils when I first started the video, but honestly, as I continue to swatch them, they really remind me of the Fenty Beauty poutsicles in the way that you apply them. The high pigmentation and shine, I think, is very similar to the Fenty, but the most similar thing is the consistency. I feel like they feel very similar on the lips when they're full pigment and glossy versus the Rare Beauty lip oils, and the way that this feels blotted is more similar to the Fenty Beauty ones than the Rare Beauty ones. Just talking about this formulation by itself, not comparing it to anything, I love how even in pigmentation the stains are. I really appreciate the fact that it's a strong stain, you know what I mean? It's not like clinging to any dry patches. I don't think I necessarily have any intense dry patches right now anyways, but I can really tell with how even the staining is, it wouldn't really sink into those fine lines and it would keep the even pigmentation all throughout the lips. I really, really do appreciate that because there are definitely lip stains out there that just make the lips look like all the hydration is sucked out of them. It really tastes and smells like soap, like a very clean, kind of florally scent. But also, I don't know if it's the makeup wipe because the makeup wipe is scented, so maybe it's that. But I swear when I have it on glossy, I still taste them. So I think it's a combination of the two. I'm not a huge fan of it, but also it's not super deterring to where I feel like I never want to wear these again. I'm very impressed by the way that these look blotted. I think they look really nice when they're fresh applied. However, I don't think that the way it actually looks freshly applied is as glossy as it looks in the photos. I think that those photos are super high shine. It is possible that they did multiple layers on the lips because it doesn't say one layer of product and then you have this, you know, glossy look or anything like that. So I think if you're going for high gloss and pigmentation, you're going to have to kind of build it up, but definitely be a little more careful because you can get a little out of hand like around the corners and stuff like that. But I think you can get a good glossy finish, but I wouldn't say that it is extreme high shine. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below if you think that this is really glossy compared to other glossy lip stains. I think that in my head I'm kind of comparing them to like Asian beauty glossy lip stains, which I have experienced some that are way more glossy than these are, but I still think it does the trick. I still think that it gives you that really great glossy lip stain effect, and I'm curious to see how this actually fades naturally into a blotted lip stain. Obviously, I can't really test that out too much right now because my lips are already stained from all 6 of the shades, so I'm gonna let you guys know in the description down below a little update on when I wear wear these again. I'm going to wear it glossy and then just let it fade throughout the day and see how it looks. That may be updated in like 2 or 3 days after this video is posted, just FYI. But yeah, I'm impressed by these. $13.99. It is pretty pricey if we're thinking drugstore. However, drugstore prices are going up, so I almost feel like it's the standard. What I will say is $13.99. Yes, while it is pretty pricey for the drugstore, I think that these definitely perform exactly like a high-end lip stain. I think that they're gorgeous. I like the shades that they came out with. I would be interested to see more nude shades. I know that it's more difficult to come out with nude lip stains, but the shades that they have now, I kind of feel like they covered all the bases in terms of popular lip stain shades. They have the berries, they have the more reddish tone, they have the mauve, they have the hot pink. It really is kind of like echoing Fenty Beauty Popsicles to me. Overall, I'm really impressed by these. There's not a single one that I'm like, it looks bad, you know? I honestly feel like all of them look really beautiful. I'm excited to see how this wears. I actually have a white chicken chili in the crock pot right now that we're gonna have for dinner. So testing it out with like a more soupy base type of dinner is gonna be interesting. We will see. I will check back in with you guys in a couple of hours. I want to say 8 hours, but if we do 8 hours, that's going to take us around like midnight. So we'll see where we're at when I'm ready for bed, but I will check in with you guys. Hi guys, this is after dinner. I had my white chicken chili that I made and it was really good. But this is what the stain is looking like. Definitely faded quite a bit, specifically from dinner. Before that, everything was staying put. I kept my napkin. You can see like my foundation on it as well because I guess I really wiped at my face. But this is what my napkin looks like. Just ignore that. That's kind of gross, honestly. But yeah, you can see the lip stain and everything on the napkin. However, I was also drinking from my water bottle and there's not really any lip stain residue. So that's interesting to me. I guess only if you're really like swiping at it will it come off. But I don't know. I wasn't really swiping. I was kind of just like patting it off while I was eating. I'm not entirely sure, but definitely has faded. I don't think it looks bad though. I'm trying to get it in different light for you guys. I don't think it looks terrible. Obviously it's more faded on the center and a little bit more prominent on the outer corners, but that's where we're sitting right now. And again, I did start off with it blotted. I did not start with the glossy lip stain look. So maybe it would be different because if I had started with that and I was eating with the glossy lip, maybe only the glossy part would have come off and then, you know, just the stain would be left over. So that is my check-in after dinner, and in a couple of hours I'm going to check in again with you guys to see where we're sitting. Hi guys, I'm back. It's about 10 o'clock at night, so it's been about like 6-7 hours now that we've had this on, and as you can see, we definitely have some fading. In my check-in after dinner, you guys saw that that was like the initial fading that we had seen. Leading up to that, I had no fading. I had it on for about an hour and a half after filming that video, and then I just went about my day. And then I ate dinner, and that's when we saw the majority of it. And since then, it's kind of like ran its course almost. It definitely starts from the inside and goes out. As you can see, it almost looks like I have like a ring on the outline of my lips with the stain, like the original stain. Also, can we talk about the makeup staying? Because I did take a nap earlier and it completely stayed. I'm very impressed by that. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. Anyways, what I'm impressed about with this fading is that it doesn't seem to have all migrated into my lip lines. I feel like it's still in its proper place. Everything is slowly fading away, not migrating. So I think that's really important if you tend to have issues with lip stains sort of becoming really blotchy because they won't stay put. That doesn't seem to be an issue with these. I would definitely be reapplying or touching this up by now. I wouldn't feel comfortable like going out and stuff with how it looks right now. That's just a personal preference. The way that it feels on the lips, I feel like I do need lip balm, but it's not so dry that it's irritating me and I'm like itching to put lip balm on. It almost feels like I don't have anything on at all and I just need to apply some lip balm. Doesn't seem to have made my lips flake or become more dry, so that's a plus. Again, I've only had this on for, you know, half of a day, so I can't say long-term benefits just yet. On camera, I think think it looks pretty good. I think in person you can definitely tell a little bit more the fading right here. I am super curious to see how this fades when you start off with it glossy. I know that a lot of people are just going to blot it off right off the bat because they'll want that lip stain look. If you are looking for just that lip stain look and not the glossy stain, I would suggest going with the Huda Beauty lip stains. I feel like those have really nice even pigmentation. They don't feel as hydrating as these, I will say, but the longevity of them is really great, and they don't fade away blotchy either. I think that this is a solid lip stain product, especially for the drugstore, but also, like I mentioned, I do feel like this performs very much like a high-end lip stain. I'm super impressed by these, and I really like the colors. I like the way that it feels on the lips overall, like the lifetime of it on the lips. I think that it's really great. Let's reapply this same shade to see what it looks like whenever we touch it up. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this fully. Here is that color reapplied. Looks brand new, to be honest. I do have some fading and stuff along the outlines of my lips, but I think that's from the swatches earlier. I don't think that it's because the stain slowly migrated out of my lips over time. I'm gonna leave it for a couple more seconds before we blot it off to see how the stain looks, because if you want to reapply and touch this up but you still only want the stained look, then I want to see if it turns out even, or because that outline is still more prominent, I want to see if it gives that same effect, just everything overall darker. Let's go ahead and blot this off and see what we're left with here. And if it wasn't obvious already, when it's in the glossy state, it is not transfer proof. Okay, this is what we're left with. Oddly enough, I feel like for the most part, this looks pretty even. If anything, it looks a little more dark on the center area, which is very normal for a lip stain to kind of cling on to the inner area more. But the outlines, they don't look that much darker. Is that just me? You guys let me know. When I put that on, I want to say that it added a tiny bit of hydration, but not enough to really make it feel like I put lip balm on, you know? It does feel like I have product on there now because it is a little more hydrated. Let's do a transfer test here. Not a ton of transfer. It's so interesting. I feel like the only time it really transferred was whenever I ate. So maybe this will do well if you don't want to wear this on an occasion that you'll be eating a lot of food, you know? And the fact that it reapplies very evenly is very promising to me. My opinion still stands. I think that these are fabulous. I think that they are great lip stain options, and you get the option to do a glossy lip stain or you get a really pretty even blotted lip look. Also, they definitely do taste and smell sweet, by the way. I know that earlier I was confused if it was the makeup wipe or not. It's definitely this. But I don't know, it's not too bad. I don't really taste it much, but I did want to note that. I would highly recommend that you pick these up if it's something that interests you. If you are a fan of the Fenty Popsicles, I think that these are a great alternative. And maybe the Rare Beauty lip oils, if you felt like the longevity on those weren't good, I feel like this lasts a lot longer stain-wise than those do. So that's just from my personal experience. I know a lot of people have experienced the Rare Beauty ones and have had them stain their lips for an entire day and then some. But for me, it lasts like, I want to say between 4 to 6 hours stain-wise. But the gloss really only lasts maybe 1 to 3 hours. And again, I will let you guys know in the description how long it lasts me for an entire day whenever I get to do that. That's everything for this video, guys. I hope that you found this video helpful with the swatches as well as the review. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And also, just to note, if you ever want to request any video or product reviews, then let me know either in the comments here or Instagram, because I'm very active on Instagram, and a lot of times you can tag me in a brand's post if you want to see me talk about that new product, you know? And more often than not, I do post on my Instagram story pretty often about the products that I am going to be filming a video on, so check that in case you want to see if I already have you covered. Alrighty guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye!